Board of Commissioners regular board meeting of Wednesday, 22nd at 10 a.m. is now in session. Let the record reflect that there was no executive session. There is no need for roll call. Therefore no certification. Roll call.
Commissioner Tommy Williams.
Yes.
Commissioner Jackson. Yes. Commissioner President Dwight.
Yes, we do have a quorum. We'll proceed with our pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance
The flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I would address your attention to the Board of Park Commission regular board meeting from the date of Wednesday, May 8th, and entertain a motion for approval. Call.
Commissioner Tommy Williams.
Yes.
Commissioner Juanita Jackson. Yes. Commissioner President Dwight Garner.
Yes. Would address your attention to claims ratification listed for the date of May 2nd. You have a question about where we are at Pump House?
So the pump was installed yesterday. The construction of the pump house is just about complete. He did everything. Finished the roof. Once they used a crane to put the pump in. Now that part is done, Prue Construction can that part, the pump in. Everything is up on as far as the irrigation by tomorrow. Assuming there are setbacks, and hopefully there are no setbacks.
Okay, yeah, we don't need much in terms of irrigation at the moment.
No, but in order to get the
Yes.
off, yeah, that's mainly what I'm about. So.
All right, and what about electronics?
Yeah, so
Part of
that's
what
part
comes
of it.
next.
So because we had to cut off the wireless whole after the accident occurred, and so Don has called the NIPSCO back. NIPSCO has to cut the power on. The electrician could come in, put everything back together, so we can get back online.
Questions from board members? I entertain a motion that we will approve the claims as listed. Is there a motion?
I make a motion that
Roll call.
Commissioner Tommy Williams.
yes.
Commissioner Juanita Jackson. Yes. Commissioner Patterson. Commissioner President Dwight Gardner.
Yes. Address your attention to the payroll expenditures for the reporting dates period of April 5th through April 8th.
Having overtime on payroll.
There was one day time that was for Life Bus today, where we went on Saturday to take care of the area. So the areas we cover: Gateway Park, Buffington, Hudson County, and I don't know if they got the Stumble Bum. The Stumble Bum is just found out that was the name of the park, 5th and Broadway. I think it was cold before they got really cold. So, but that we had an employee who worked at full-time employee.
So you got some with the rain, right?
Big time. I know you most, but yeah, it's a challenge. With the golf course is a challenge. We progress. It just kind of stagnates everything. The cutting is a major issue. So most of what we'll have to do, move our park guys is scheduled around. So they just may not come in on a regular scheduled day. Back to the weekend, we're running crews on the weekend to address it. Or like for example, like today with rain night and rain, they'll come in the afternoon once things dry up. But it's a challenge.
Okay, what about the software jobs connected to park services? We have a page, the ticket takers.
They start this.
Some of those are still open. Where are we at?
The 6 ticket takers, I believe Kamisha said the Kamisha's on vacation. 5 of those have been filled, so there's 1 remaining. The 28 lifeguards, how many do we have developed this thing? You're doing a class now.
Right, so we have 23.
Okay. And how many from out, because this is important, how many from outside? 2? 2 outside the city up there. I think we have, 4 left? Yeah, so we're making some progress. Patrol as well, starting this weekend. Actually, no, Beach Patrol started last weekend on the 18th. So they were out last weekend. They've been really kind of working for the past month. Detective Lily, just on where it's warm outside and there's traffic. He, kind of deployed out. He makes things on top of that. Okay.
Now I entertain a motion that we approve the pay expenditures for the days. Roll call.
Commissioner Tommy Wood.
Yes.
Commissioner Juanita Johnson. Commissioner Renee Patterson.
Yes.
And Commissioner President Dwight Gardner.
Legal report.
We had a proposal contract today. Report today.
Okay. That takes us to administrative reports. Is on vacation.
Right.
Good morning.
Good morning. Ms. Christine, our manager, she was so kind to facilitate our CPR that was conducted back last April the 19th for Campbell staff. We have 2 staff members that were able to attend the training to conflict of schedule. And so individuals, Christine, would schedule another date and time so that the rest of the 2 staff members will have the CPR training as well. But we did have the CPR training on April 19th, which was that Friday. We do have a new hire. I'd like to announce. He has not started yet, but one of our custodial positions will be filled by Mr. Ron Douglas, that is his name, and he's supposed to start May the 28th, so it'll be the day after Memorial Day, because for right now, we do have only 2 full-time custodians. Now we're beyond short, so we have 2 of our custodians that resigned. We still have 2 full-time team as well. So we are looking on Mr. Ronald Douglas on May 28th. We are still accepting applications, opening the application pool back up fitness coordinator position. Our interviews were conducted, as I stated in his board meeting. We had several individuals to inquire, but we only had 2 that actually applied to Human Resources. Those interviews were conducted, and I am still looking for prospective candidates. So just wanted to make that that we are still accepting applications for the coordinator position. If anyone is interested, they can visit the city's website and click on the tab, and they can also fill out an application there. All applications have to be completed online. So, the fitness coordinator position is still open. We have or mirrors that are in need of repair here at the Hudson Campbell. We have a upstairs in our weight area that was shattered, and we have several. I contacted several stores to get quotes. Luckily, when on my way in the board meeting, I got a response from Broadway Glass and Customs. They're not listed on this, but they are en route within the next hour. They're going to come out and do an assessment, and they're going to do some measurements. The two areas are, we have one mirror in the weight room, and we also have 2 mirrors that can be in our cardio room. They will be here to do an assessment and take measurements, ensure that we can get a quote, get that situation right. And for right now, that's all I have.
Okay, questions? Thank you. I don't see Doug.
No, at the golf course. So I gave it on the goings on it, of course. So Christine. Did you need me? We already did.
Oh.
Good morning. We are set to open this weekend, starting Saturday. Just please, we had some radio donated from the MCC Miller. We're going to try them out to see how they work with the police. Hopefully, we can work with some communication with each other. We have the flags in for the flag system. The green flags will mean, water conditions is safe to lifeguards are on duty. Yellow means there's some slight risk, but lifeguards are still on duty. The red, okay, so the red, rip currents, but at the end of the night when lifeguards are off, we look up the flag system for around here, and red will be put up at the end of the night because technically unsafe, because you have no one out there. Conditions can always change. So at the end of the night at 6 p.m., flags will always change to red.
I had a question. What about red ties? Would the red flag will be out there times as well?
Definitely.
And we have signs that will be out to explain tides and
And the color
system.
And where would the flags be?
On the lifeguard time.
All of them?
They'll spread on the lifeguard.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. Finalizing mechanism to put in place to be able to secure the flags to the towers themselves. They're not taking away souvenirs. So we're figuring out a way with our car to secure it via like a little small padlock to the stand itself.
Yeah, so every morning when they come out, they will change the flag. Also, we're putting signs about rip, what to do if you are in a rip current. We also have we have life jackets and throw rings down the beach. So if you ever need some assistance, don't go, just.
Can you explain real quick what you would advise people to do if they're caught up in a rip current?
If you caught in a rip current, try to swim with the current. So don't try to swim against the current. And I always advise that don't try to go in to try to assist someone. Like the movies and like that, because you could put yourself in danger. But just basically try to come. You swim out and try to come in. And last but not least, Lifeguards are on duty from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. Children 12 and under must be accompanied by an adult 18 and over.
Say that one again, please.
Children 12 and under must be accompanied by one 18 and over, not adult. And the police will be enforcing it this year to make sure we just had too many minors at the beach last year. Stuff happens, no one is around to be able to contact them. All right, any more questions?
The flotation device, and all that other stuff.
Okay. On the devices as allowed is the Coast Guard life jackets, no inflatables, no beach balls. And the reason that you can't have that at the beach because the water is constantly moving, the current, and you can easily drift. Also, chest deep. How good of a swimmer you are. Chest deep is how far you have to go out. Even the best swimmers have stress. So if you at least stand in, you have a better chance. Like you catch a cramp or something, you could just stand up. Or is when you get out into deeper waters. And that's pretty much.
Any questions?
Yeah, they come back. Cards. Anytime, we'll always have everyone's getting a mask, first aid kit, keep their rescue mask in their bag. They have their own first aid kit, which comes band-aids, spurs, gauze, antiseptic wipes, Neosporin, and the little mini kit that. And what I do is I give them a Ziploc bag, so if they get in the water, their stuff don't get wet. Keeps the water.
Any questions, board members? Youth services, I think it's.
Go ahead, this is out, but I wanted to make an announcement. On May 31st was her last day with us. She's moving on to greener pastures. So we will be, getting things together as far as summer feeding is concerned. There's just some things we have is concerning the Cities Connected Children grant to make sure that we have a smooth transition to the director will be.
Does she have an assistant?
Did
Well-
go ahead.
Okay, no. I just wondered, she just gave no. Did you know this was coming all along, so there was no planning?
No, she gave me verbal maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, and then put it in writing 2 weeks ago. So, no, we knew.
Summer jobs relative to the feeding and recreation. What's going on with that?
That has to go before the city council. There is a jobs program that we have for years. It's my understanding that we won't be partnering this year. So there is a plan in place. Required city council approval. Sorry.
Any other questions from board members? That brings us to superintendent's.
So I had a lot of thank yous on my list. I'm sure I'm forgetting something else. But hopefully they'll charge it to me not tomorrow. But I wanted to thank the park staff. I remember previous jobs. I was on the job 2 weeks, and my immediate supervisor had emergency surgery and was out for weeks. And when she got back, she said, "There's something wrong. There's nothing on my desk. I don't have any outrageous voicemails. Like, what did you? Like everything was taken care of." And that's when I turned to had a week of vacation and a week where I was in Philadelphia. And so, you know, my staff continued to move on. I didn't get many phone calls saying, hey, I need your assistance with this. So I just like to thank my staff for so on, continuing work as usual. Good to come back and not to have to deal with a bunch of emergencies and things like that. So that was a good thing for me. I'd like to thank King Women's Lodge number 57. So we had pitch, hit, and run. That was on May the 11th. It was at the Railcat Stadium. Here are the winners from that event. For the 7 and 8 rows, the all-around champion was Douglas. The 9-10 champion was Kay. S, the all-around champion, the girls softball division. And F was the 11, 12-year-old all-around and hit champion. Q, 11 and 12-year-old champion. Nathaniel G, sounds familiar. Not me, it's my youngest son. Was the 11, 12-year-old pitch champion. And Sanae G, which is my youngest daughter, won the 13 and 14 all-around champion for the softball division. So those individuals, if they choose to, will compete in the sectional. I want to thank the Railcats for allowing us to have an event there. I also want to thank, again, King Lodge. They sent some volunteers to assist us with the pitch, hit, and run. For those who don't know, pitch, hit, and run is the MLB. It's like fundamental skills they promote. So each depends on their ability to pitch, their ability to hit, and their ability, the quickness or the speed in which they run around the bases. So this is something that's been every year. A couple of years ago, it was on my lap, and I want to publicly thank Mr. Alexander, a former employee, who did this for 10 plus years doing it, and not only coming out, not only me in this, but also to help galvanize people to come out and assist with the organization. Sanitary District wanted to give a huge shout out to them. They have, they're assisting with mulch, replacing the playground area in our place, and so they're delivering it to us, and so with them has been good. I was just on to put it and spread it out. So that process, I think, should be starting. It works from the traffic department, vehicle maintenance, general services. They huge help to the start of the season. I want to thank them for what they've done. And finally, the Friends of the Shoreline Community Safety. Christine talked about the donation. Mayor's Waters, that the MCC, our discussions at the Mayor's Waters of the communication devices, the walkie-talkies. So that is good. Internal communication, but the Shoreline Community Friends of Marquette this weekend came out with the painting of guard towers. So at the beach, right now there were 2 painted. We weren't able to get to any others because of the weather, but number 1 and number 5 of Christina. I think it's number 1 and number 5 are painted. One red and one like a lime green. The reason that we do that is because in a lot of emergency situations, Christine talked about how kids separated from their families, and trying to identify the last word. They said, well, the lifeguard tower. Lifeguard tower. And so, Christine had the idea of them so that we can say where you're at, so they can say I was at when I was at the green one. I think it's orange and blue, the last 3 colors, right? So, Marquette organized voluntary. They've organized, they got the paint for us and everything, so we've had a good partnership with them as it relates to things that go on in the park. We appreciate them. We're seeing the walkie-talkies that were donated in MCC, and I want to address maybe some misunderstanding about lifeguards and their usage of cell phones. If you see lifeguards on cell phones, and if they're accessible and they're constantly down and they're doing all kinds of things, those are things we definitely discourage and will be addressing those lifeguards. There are situations where they do make emergency phone calls. And if you see them on the phone, there's a chance that they're calling us on an emergency basis. Also, Christine has to communicate with them as well. And so Christine is not at the beach with the walkie-talkie. She may call one of them to address the situation. So I hope people jump to the gun to that if they see them on the phone, that they're just lackadaisical. We're absolutely stressing they focus waters at all times, but there are times where they are going to have to use cell phones. If we notice anybody anything excessive, we will definitely address it, but all the time you see them on their cell phone that they're goofing off. Wanted to discuss some of the park rules, beach rules, but go over a few rules. Number is not number one on our list, but it should be number one. Number one is to have fun. Everybody to enjoy the space. As much fun as you can possibly have. We don't want to restrict that as well. But there are some things that definitely need to be enforced. I'll go over all of them. Possession of alcohol is permitted in the park. That is a city ordinance. Motorized vehicles are not permitted to be on the grass. Also a city ordinance. The park opens at 6 a.m. and closes at 7. So it varies sometimes. It could be 8, 8:30, but it's dark. Officially, the parks are closed. And please use all receptacles for all litter. Again, please use all trash receptacles for all litter. So those are some of the major ones that we want to talk about. There's a lot of them. But if I was to reiterate one, just we want everybody to have as much fun as possible, but we want to respect the spaces that Commissioner Williams asked me earlier about our mowing schedule and an our mowing schedule. And I'll just reiterate the that we've had on a frequent and a regular basis has altered our schedule tremendously. Got our first cuts at all of our parks. That part is done. It's just it's our ability for the manager because we have to move fast from one to the next. So now we're able to focus in on the managing, the edge, the weed whacking, those things. We're working, we're adjusting schedules as best as we can, but we're kind of to the weather. About Kayana and the Youth Services Bureau Director. I just wanted to thank, she's not here, but I just wanted to acknowledge the work that she's done. She's been here for 2 years. She was huge relates to the city's connection, the nature grant. That was something that she authored, that was something that she got. And so we'll look to continue that on. The work that she's done on that. Also, you know, we had some challenges related to the summer program and righted a lot of the challenges that we've had. We were having issues with being paid, there was pay issues, came bull by the horn, and has corrected issues. So she was definitely missed around here. And so I just wanted to publicly acknowledge that. Buoys. Buoys cannot be out until the conditions come down. So if anybody's been out at Lake Michigan lately, the waves are pretty high. We have calm conditions as of yet. So we contact with South Shore. We have a day where the weather is calm. He can deliver and deploy the buoys. He will. The pay stations have been installed. There are two. There's one at the concession lot, and then there's the other one on Marquette Drive. The signage for those will be erected. I talked to the traffic department yesterday. So Friday is when the sign will be erected to inform folks of where to pay or that they need to pay. A lot is a pay. So by Friday, we'll have everything erected and ready to go. And then last thing on here is shoreline. Almost 3 weeks ago, I thought we were in really good shape. We've been visiting the beach, posting their pictures of the beach, tagging Marquette Park, Gary, in their pictures, and you would look down the line and everything was fine. And then all of a sudden, beach debris, it's not the trash. That's a thing, I think that's a positive sign on the policy that we implemented. It's not trash, it's not plastic bags, all that. It's seed, it's wood stuff. It's just Lake Michigan is depositing a lot of that stuff. So our crew is out. They'll be out today. General Services has allowed us to use their bob, which is huge because it decreases the physical labor that is laborious and also takes a lot of time to do. And so they have allowed us to use their Bobcat in order to expedite the cleanup of the shore. But if you, I'm sure, I don't know if you've been out there passing, but I thought we were in good shape up until last week. But we adjust.
The driftwood is always the worst after every storm.
Big time. The action item, the last thing that needs your approval. So with the pay stations, people will have the ability to pay via a mobile app. It's similar to, I know I've done this in Chicago, where you go to the machine itself, you can pay via the mobile app. However, there are fees that are associated with doing that are passed on to us. Attorney Monroe and I talked about this last week. When you add the fee up, it comes out to about 93 cents altogether to do it. So the board approved the $7 fee for parking pay stations. If somebody pays out, every time they pay, 93 cents will be deducted from that. So that could potentially cost us thousands of dollars in user fees that we would have to send back to the vendor. So what I'm asking for is your permission to attach a convenience fee, $1 convenience for folks to pay via their mobile app. That way we don't lose any revenue.
Discussion from board members. Then I'll entertain a motion to connect a $1 convenience for mobile app payments for parking.
So moved.
Roll.
Commissioner Williams. Commissioner Juanita Jackson. Commissioner Renee Wilson.
Yes.
And Commissioner President Dwight Gardner.
Yes.
I have one more thing that doesn't require action, but I think it's kind of important to say. Last week I was in Philadelphia for a training / certification for green infrastructure. It was a really good trip. One of the things I learned from the trip, and it's sometimes easy to forget, is that our problems, the challenges, not problems, the challenges that we have are not unique just to us. We tend to think that way because I think sometimes we get caught up and we think our problems are our problems and they don't exist anywhere else. When I was in Philadelphia, one of the issues that was expressed by folks from the Philadelphia as we rode around the parks is, oh man, I'm tired of these people dumping in our parks. I'm tired of all picking up the trash and the litter. Philadelphia is the 5th largest city in the country, and I think with all of the resources that they have, that wouldn't be much of a major issue for them, but it was just as much of an issue for them as for us. And so I don't want to say it was encouraging, because picking up trash and debris isn't encouraging. But to me, it was a little refreshing to hear just our problems aren't unique to just us. And nobody really has a silver bullet for solving those. The only thing that people just keep plugging away and continue to build relationships with the community. The other thing that was really important that I took away from the training itself. By the way, let me say, training is not tax funded. I got a scholarship from the National Association of Parks and Recreation to go, so players didn't pay a dime to go, just in case somebody says something about me traveling. But the other important thing was just the importance of green infrastructure projects. Without you all to sleep, green infrastructure just basically deals with diverting any water from our drainage system, because our drainage system is connected to our sewer system, which is then connected to our water source. So every time water runs from off the street, pollutants and other kinds of things. So the structure deals with trying to divert that water and plant life and things and stuff like that. But the important thing about those projects, the thing that cities had in common was the maintenance of it. And you stress that a lot. Having a workforce that was educated and understood why we're doing all of these things and how important it is to do all of these things. And so how important it was to connect to the community, help them to understand why it was important to do all of this. So a lot of things that I already kind of knew are challenges that my peers across the country are having. And so it was really refreshing to be able to communicate with minded and also be able to pull some information from those that hopefully I can share. So that concludes the report.
Just an item that I would bring up. You mentioned that there is that the use of alcohol or the possession of alcohol on park property is prohibited by city ordinance.
Yes.
It also leans over in to the use of drugs on park property.
Yes.
I know that there is the national push, at least state by state, to decriminalize the use of marijuana and I think that was no big deal, but just like alcohol is prohibited on property, the use of illicit substances also would fall under that category, and you can and will be ticketed and arrested depending on what's going on. So we want everybody to have a good time. We want it to be done safely and soberly. Comments by board members? Okay. That is to public.
We have an officer.
Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Commissioners. Over here. Oscar from Glen Ryan subdivision. I need to really get some clarification as far as within the park, because we're hearing about ability, but within the pavilion and park, so many things that are that needs to be done. And I don't know how that can come out, but if there's some way to where we can get understanding of what we do as a within our community to be able, we can do that is for us to do and still be part of the community.
Okay, let me ask you this question. What part in particular are we talking about?
Glen Ryan.
Where is Glen Ryan?
See, this,
All I can say is say Glen from Ryan, because that's all. I don't know the. Glen.
no,
That's,
not that.
I, you're saying, like,
Across.
Cape perpendicular or something like that.
Yeah, north.
Right.
North.
As you cross the tracks.
Like, you can understand what Glen Ryan is. Glen Ryan is on the north side of 20.
And Edmonds
south,
Gotcha.
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
starts the beginning of,
Area.
Okay,
and in the midst of it, there's a park, a pavilion that's there.
okay, here's what I would like to do. I'm gonna thank you for your concern. I also want to thank you for, you know, that even the citizens of Glen Ryan are willing to kind of help make that a safe, usable place. I would ask that the superintendent get together directly, perhaps you guys go on a little tour or whatever, or get a listing of what these are, and we will figure out how to address them.
You got a few minutes after the meeting. Okay.
Yeah, because we did that because I know there's the feeding that during the summer that they have for the youth, and that's gonna go on also this, I got the flyer off of the area works, and there are things inside that needs to be taken care of because of the children. So, thank you, I hope I can get with you and we get those things.
As soon as the meeting's over with.
Yeah, we think.
Yeah, you have your list? You have a list?
I have a
Needs to be
listen,
taken
but
care
I
of?
can't, this is not something to just start. I came to the park board before on issues that way, as far as what can we do, what can't we do? And we never have gotten a response. And it's been over years, and it's the Glen Ryan associations, and it's getting going down and down. They're getting despondent because of, it's like as if nothing is for the small park, is always mentioned about the parks. Nothing is done for, and that's the thing that is going on right now.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Then I had a question. The parks that we identified as the ones that we're gonna raise the bar and become pristine, is Glen Ryan one of those parks?
Glen Ryan is.
Okay.
Yeah. Ryan, actually, I think I know a little bit about what Mr. is referring to. But to me, actually, Glen Ryan was probably one of the most consistent ones that was maintained. So when I visit on the outside, internally, how the issues are. But outside, and I'm sure that around there probably assisted with usually in the communities where we see are in really good condition. It's not just a city thing. It's usually there are some neighbors who are assisting with it. So I'm sure that's probably.
And let me Mr. Cobb, what Commissioner was talking about. We have roughly one park for every square mile in the city of Gary. Gary City, 6 miles in circumference. We got 56 places that are labeled as parks. We simply do have the resources to take care of them. That's rubber meets the road. What we ask superintendent to do is to identify 2 parks per district where we could begin to seek resources, raise the level of the park, and thereby create a fun, clean, and safe place for our families and our children. And that's what we're doing, or that's kind of the blueprint for the 2019 park season. And so, again, I want to thank you for coming, and we'll do everything we can. Glen Ryan is a park that is used, that is frequented, and even the summer program is going to be there this summer. And we're going to do everything we can to make it work.
Thank you.
Next, we have Robertson.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Michelle. I'm the proprietor of Clean Paws Grooming Salon and the founder of Paws for Paws Gary, 501c3 animal welfare profit organization located here in the city of Gary. And I'm coming before you converting the athletic fields at Jackson into a park. And let me just say that in step one, saying, Commissioner Gardner, we are not seeking funding from the city of Gary. We have never had a plan to seek funding from the city of Gary. All we have ever asked for was the use of land. And our proposal before you, we have a plan that includes adding fencing, play equipment, access pads, and as well as a memorial garden for residents and pets who transitioned before this park to be.
So have you had an opportunity to examine this proposal?
No, this is the first time I'm seeing this. We've had discussion over
4.5 years.
Well, just a year for me.
Right.
So yeah, we've had discussions about park. I believe last year, if you will recall, about North Gleason as an option, and then it would be focus turned to Jackson as far as the baseball field outside of. And then it was at the time that that Ms. Ryan came and asked she can get a lease from the department in order to seek funding, that I came before you all to get your approval.
Now, I did understand that there was an issue about liability regarding the dog park. And dog parks are across the nation. Our neighbors have dog parks. And because this is a paid membership park, part of the membership agreement is a hold agreement. I understand it with our neighboring dog is that if there is a dog on contact, the police are called person or party that is involved in that dog contact would make a police report, and they would handle it there. If it's the same thing, if it's person contact. They understand that when they utilize the park, it is a hold harmless agreement against the city, the Parks Department, Cause for Paws Gary, and there's a sponsors associated with the park.
Okay, a couple of questions. You said that this is a pay-to-use?
Yes, membership park. Yes.
Okay.
And let me address to that point. The reason why it's a paid park is to have more control factors. You can, because it's a paid park, they will be required to meet obligations as far as vaccines requirements. They have signed a hold harmless agreement. They have participated in dog park etiquette online training. And that you give you more control factors. If you have an open park, people can come in, and they have that problem in Portage now, where people come in, dogs are unvaccinated, they're dealing with diseases in the park, particularly parvo. So in our park, if there's a paid agreement, those fees go into maintaining the park, cutting grass, waste removal, poop removal, maintaining equipment, and also replacing grass as it's damaged from heavy usage from the dogs.
Budget here, $119,000. Where's this funding coming from?
That's primarily fundraising, in-kind services, grants.
Let me ask you this. Do you have an operational budget already in place?
Have a projected one? Yes.
So let me ask you, is there any kind of revenue that's already there? This is a projected from fundraising and all the things, like you have a grant or what? We cannot obtain funding for the park because we don't have
rights to the park. The majority of the grants that we researched and prep to apply for, they want specific information as, do we have rights to the land? I mean, they're not new to this. They know people get the money and do something with it. We have to have specific rights. That's why we're requesting at least 15-year land lease agreement so that we can make the alteration of the park. The Jackson Park right now has not been cared for quite some time. There are trees that are in between the fencing. There's damage to the fence. A lot of work that needs to go to that park, and particularly in athletic fields. It's not being ready. There's prep work that we have. We don't have rights to make any alterations to that land because we don't own it, and because it's our land, you can't sell it to us. So we're asking for a lease agreement so that we can alter that land and that particular part of the park. Now, as things progress, we would like to adopt a park in the future and work, but there's someone that's already cutting the front land. I don't know who that is, but they're already cutting around the play equipment and a little bit around the basketball courts. And that also has 20 to 30 feet trees over the basketball courts. We're just interested in the back half of that park, the athletic field, which is also has not been cared for. The grass is about as this table, but it's laying over. It doesn't look that high, but it's extremely high. Those things have to be cared for before we can start doing anything. But we can't hire contractors to go do things or, ask people to donate their service, have volunteers go out and do that because we don't have rights to use that land.
So the question I'm asking, in the sustainability of this dog park and the budget factor, there's no budget in place right now, and this is all based on if the lease they have to go out and do fundraising.
Right. We can start actively seeking grants, seeking funding, and other things that we need to move forward. We can't raise money for. This is something that we just started. After this for 4.5 years. 4.5. Most people, they park in 7 months. Been at it for 4.5 years. So ask people, people are enthusiastic about it and they say, great, where's it going to be? I don't know. It was going to be at South Gleason, then it was no. It was going to be at MCC Bennett. No, it's economic redevelopment. It was going to be at North Gleason. Now, no. So Jackson Park identified as a spot, and now we can say, this is the location, this is the market, we have rights to this, to utilize this land. Now we can start actively funding and getting in-kind service. A lot of things, we also food pantry, and we started a pet food pantry in February of 2018. The pet food pantry is now fully funded, and we started one grant for less than $2,000. So we have people that are willing to support us, but they're not going to do anything if we have no time.
So it sounds like this is a route.
Yeah, right. So we wanted to have it open this year, looking at the fall of 2020 to finally get it up, to finally get it final and opening and work. Because this year we need to do work as far as removing trees, getting stuff down, what kind of utility lines are running there. A lot of work that has to be done before we can do add fencing or anything else.
So my issue was the same as Williams, as far as your operational budget, and who are you sharing that? Because would it be the city council or both?
This particularly is privately funded. The membership fees that we get would go strictly for maintaining the park, maintenance and upkeep of the park.
But you still have to have experience, so you're going to have to share books
Absolutely.
with somebody in the city. Make sure that there's, what they call it, full transparency. And
Absolutely. If you're comfortable, absolutely, we have no problem with that.
Here's a problem I got with this. When you're going out getting grants, there's a probability that a grant will come, and then you actually give away $10 or more that doesn't belong to us as the Parks land. And then the sustainability of this, and if it go through, then we'll see what's left from it.
Okay, if I can address
Go ahead.
Commissioner. Okay, Commissioner Gardner, you have 57 parks, you have 57 square miles and one park each square mile, okay? Most of those parks are not being maintained. Jackson Park is one of those parks. So the worst that can happen is that you have a fenced-in area that's been well maintained and the grass is. We're not asking you for 10 acres, the baseball field is only 3.5 acres, okay? And at this point, it has not been used and I was told in some 30 years. So the fact that we're doing something there when nothing is being, it adds to improvement. In addition to the flowers that we had and the attraction, we have a pet park administration because people are moving towards, or it's becoming more apparent now, people and their pets are important. And you have pet housing, you're doing new housing in the broad corridor. If those houses are pet friendly, the pet amenity right here in the city. People are using pet parks that live in the city of Gary. However, they're going outside of the city and they are paying $60, $140 to use pet parks outside of the city. And while they're outside of the city using those pet parks, they are spending dollars on food, grooming, and other services from $1 billion industry that the city of Gary has got.
Where's the money to start this?
The money to start it goes from, it's coming from grant fundraising and in-kind services.
Don't have it yet.
We can't,
Accept that.
without the land, we
So
can't
you
do
have
it.
it right now, or very little.
We have little right now, but we have people that to help us. But again, after 4.5 years, they're doubting that it's going to happen. I'll give you $10,000 and it's 4.5 years and you have nothing, you lose credibility in that particular.
I mean, use what you do. What happened in 3 years and you don't raise any money, then where are we?
4.5 years is true that you may have been working on this for a while, but it's not genuine to say that it has been the Parks Department that has hampered you, as if to say we granted MC Bennett Park or North Gleason and then turned around and said no. We never said anything but no, based on the locations that were selected. And so I just want to make that clear that the process is simply the process, and we haven't hampered the process. We just haven't been in agreement with the places that were selected. That's the first thing. Second thing is, wow, I thought it slipped me. Okay, but that's important. It's important to me that we do understand that. Maybe my second thought will come back to me, but I did see a couple of one hand and I heard a voice that I want to recognize. Our councilperson Herb Smith is here.
Yeah.
Councilman Smith, we love to hear from.
I'm Councilman Herb Smith, and this came before the council, and it's been before us for several times, and we researched it, and the council is in agreement with dog park so far. When I stepped out of here, I was talking to the mayor. She's in agreement with it. That's part of the problem. Why it went so long, because there are actually 2 dog parks. Yeah, there's going to be another one in Miller, and it's coming. And they're totally self-sufficient, just as hers is going to be. If there's a problem with she can't get the financing, we've seen the city numerous times, such as with the old Holiday Inn, if they couldn't rehabilitate it and do whatever they're going to do to it, it reverted back to the city. So if she can't do what she says she's going to do, you give her a time frame, And if she can't do it, then it goes back to the city, and you just have a well-groomed area. So, that's it.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And there's someone else who wanted to speak to the issue?
Yes, I would like to say that,
Come forward.
hello, my name is Andrea Ledbetter. Currently, I work with the nonprofit Decay Devils, and I'm a supporter of the dog park. Financing wouldn't really be a problem. As a single grant writer myself, I've raised well over $175,000 in less than 2 years. There are far more grants for pet parks and for conservation of animals and everything than there are for historic restoration. So consequently, if I was able to do that for historic landmarking and for restoration of historic landmarks, then her grants would be sufficient. They would come in a lot faster. There's a lot less regulations on them. So it would be able to be funded. Actually, people care more about pets than, I hate to say it, consequently people. You have a lot of grant funding out there. So the research has already been done on it, and it's a lot bigger. It's a smaller project than historic restoration, and it's an easier project to accomplish.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to slate this for executive session discussion at our next meeting, and then possibly and be prepared to make a decision to have an actual vote. Okay, at our next meeting.
If I could just say two things. Number one, I would definitely disagree with the assertion that most of our parks are not maintained. I definitely strongly disagree with that. Number two, as it relates to Jackson Park, that park has been adopted by a gentleman out of Valparaiso, Indiana, who comes regularly. I haven't seen him this year, so our crew has done it, so hope nothing is wrong with him. But he does an extremely good job with Jackson Park. In addition, Jackson Park is part of the Gary Green Link, and so part of the bike trail or walking path goes through Jackson Park. So any assertion that Jackson Park is not well-maintained or there's not been little or no involvement in Jackson Park is just not accurate.
Okay. Final question. Has there been a community survey?
Yes. We did it online. We can do another. We also circulated a petition for the dog park, and we currently have 1,000 signatures for residents in the city of Gary who are for the off-leash community dog park.
In the community, in the
In the
Jackson
community,
Park footprint.
In the city of Gary as a whole, because it's not going to just affect Jackson, the Jackson Park footprint. This is the only park,
Well,
park of its nature.
that's not really correct. I mean, true enough, it may benefit all dog users, dog owners in the city, but it is the people who live in the footprint of the park that will be most directly impacted by its location. That's why I asked about just a general survey of the people who live around the park. Has that actually happened?
We can have that happen by the next
Okay,
meeting.
I would like for you to do that.
Okay.
Just to see where they are. Just
Okay.
it doesn't have to be miles. A couple of blocks, every direction around the park.
Okay.
Just to see what people.
So can I ask this question? The people that have already signed the petition for the park, would you like me to have them write, email, or attend the meeting to their support? Because we don't have this amenity in the city. And we have not had this, for years, the ordinances for the city of Gary have not been pet friendly. And so we are working hard to make Gary a pet friendly city, because that is the next movement. When you do economic development and have more people coming in, they're coming in with their pets. People are now making more pets more and more service animals because they don't want to leave them behind. So it does affect, yes, the people in that footprint, but it affects everyone in this city because this is an amenity that we do not have.
Again, I would simply like to, a couple of blocks in every direction, around the footprint.
Okay.
Door-to-door survey, or however it is, you know, to see what the people think.
Okay.
Thank you.
The question I was going to ask, is it that public land is the only thing that you have considered? What about acquiring some other private land?
Private land is more expensive.
Okay.
And it's in the city of Gary, most lots are in quarter-acre lots. And I was on the team when Joe Van Dyke had the students come from University of Chicago, and we went through all the cities, all the areas to see what properties were abandoned. And to have 3 acres together, most of that land that is not overgrown by trees or littered with debris or contaminated, is basically the parks and the defunct schools.
Okay, thank you.
Okay? Yes.
I just have one other point I wanted to just emphasize. I noticed that there is nothing in your plan in regards to security, as far as maybe cameras or something. I mean, I know people will be coming to the park, all kind of people will be coming to the park, and dogs can be a form of security for some people, depending on the type of dog you have. But I just wanted to know if you were going to incorporate anything like that.
We can do that. Most of the parks don't have cameras, but that, I'm sure that we can make that happen.
Okay.
Reverend Gardner, for the record, you are going to hold an executive session at 9 a.m. For the first June meeting?
That's correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's all.
My friend,
No, thank you.
you good today? All right.
Sorry.
I recognize you because you come with good information and some ideas from time to time, and it's always appreciated that you care enough to come by. All right, thank you. With that, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Meeting is adjourned.